What's Crack-A-Lackin? Welcome in to My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Show.
Welcome in to another episode of My Mind is a Weapon Fantasy Football Podcast. I am your host, Sleazebomb. Before we dive in to the top 7 wide receiver buys you should be making right now, buy low in fantasy football, heading into week 7. Got to take a second here, guys. This is episode number 300. I can't thank you guys enough for all the support. I cannot believe from 2 years ago today where we are at, subscriber-wise, like-wise, all the support you guys show. 300 episodes, man. Absolutely blessed to have you guys follow me and be part of this channel, be part of the journey of fantasy football. It's unbelievable. It's surreal. I can't thank you guys enough. Now, we are going to dive into 7 wide receivers you should be buying right now before week 7 starts on Thursday Night Football. And I put this tweet up this morning. I was going to add A.J. Brown to the wide receiver list, but they're 4-2. I know he has problems with the Eagles offense and how bad it's been, and it's very, very bad there in that way. But these are the wide receivers I think that are going to be moved. So DJ Moore's got a lot of trade talk on him right now as well with the Chicago Bears. They play tonight, Monday Night Football. Let's say they lose. We'll probably hear more DJ Moore news. Jalen Waddle, Dolphins are in shambles. Calvin Ridley got hurt. Tennessee Titans fired their head coach. They're in shambles. Jerry Jeudy, you've seen Dylan Gabriel. He doesn't even target the wide receivers. They need to put Shadur Sanders in. Jacoby Myers, the Raiders season is pretty much over, even though they got the win. I'm happy they're 2-4. Chris Olave and Shaheed, Saints season pretty much over. They're probably going to look to move everybody. And then I have Brandon Ayuk of my 49ers that I think that could be moved here too with the injuries that we're having nonstop. So the quarterback, running back, tight ends, you guys want to see those. You also need to pay attention to the players behind these players. So if these guys are moved, the fantasy value of other players goes way up. So you have to note these things. These are playing ahead in fantasy football is everything to get that championship. Now, before we head into it, make sure you tap that like and subscribe button. All the support's appreciated. I cannot thank you guys enough. Again, 300th episode, absolutely wild. And then I'll be live tonight with my brother Big Draft Energy. We'll be doing a recap of week 6. I also host the Guys FF with him. So Discord will be pinned in the comments and in the description. We cover everything, redraft, dynasty, trades, everything you should do in fantasy football. And we like to also look back at our recap show and see where we were at and where we were wrong so we can be better for you guys as well. We like to show transparency. And we're also going to drop our Pick'em Tick'em in there tonight. I love the ticket for tonight that we have going on drafters.com. If you haven't signed up on there, make sure you sign up using promo code SLEEZ. It will double your initial deposit up to $100. And you can do Pick'ems, DFS drafts with us, everything like that. Now let's dive in to my top 7 wide receivers that you should be buying right now in fantasy football. Starting off with the first wide receiver that you should be buying low right now, ASAP, is going to be Big Mike Evans, who is supposedly, as the updates are right now, is that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are hopeful 100% that he's going to be practicing on Monday today. So we don't even have the update yet. We're hoping. But what you have to look at is you got Chris Godwin down. His injury, 30 years old, also has metal in his foot. You got the neck injury for McMillan. He's probably back week 10. Emeka, the superstar, Egbuka, rookie, just went down with a hamstring. He looks like they're 2 to 3 weeks out. And they have a bye week 9. And Baker Mayfield has been absolutely out of his goddamn mind this season, playing like an MVP. If I had to vote right now, it'd be Baker Mayfield. They're 5-1, and they've been beat up across the board. No Bucky Irving still winning. This guy's putting up 24, 28, 30, 23, 28. Unbelievable numbers, QB3 on the season. And if you look at last week's game as well, versus my 49ers, he hits a bomb to Tez Johnson. He hits the other Johnson as well, Cameron Johnson. Dude, I'm like, who are these guys? This guy can make anyone good. Kate Otten's still a decent enough tight end out there. And when you're looking at Big Mike, look at these numbers before he went down. And these numbers are still right now, okay? So, remember, he only played 3 weeks. He went down in week 3, right, with the hamstring, right at the end of the game versus the Jets. So 27 targets, 14 receptions, 140 yards, 1 receiving TD. You hope he doesn't have any rushing yards at his old age. Target share, 28.7%. That was number 9, still number 9 right now. Snap share, 80.8. That's number 37. You expect him to even have a little sluggish snap share, maybe 70, 65% coming back off his hamstring either way. But guys, this is the crazy part. Deep target rate was 30%. That was number 1 in the NFL before going down. Red zone targets was 5. That was number 1 before going down. He's still number 14 on that. 34 points, still wide receiver 69. And when you're going to be the only wide receiver out there and your matchup coming up is the Detroit Lions on Monday Night Football, you just watched it with the Chiefs. You heard the commentators. You heard them say the Lions secondary is missing 5 out of 6 starters. Kirby Joseph got banged up in the game last night. If Mike Evans is out there on Monday Night Football, you can probably expect a 20-point smash start from him just because their defense cannot stop anything. And the owner of Mike Evans right now has probably got, you drafted him in late second, early third, depending on how your draft went. They're probably hurting. They need some pieces. Go out and acquire Mike Evans right now before it's too late. Wide receiver number 2, you should be buying low on, and it's still kind of a buy low, even though he had a 13-point game. His breakout game of the season, the most points he's had on the season, is Matthew Golden. And you got to look at the Green Bay Packers. It is kind of scary because we don't know how it's going to play out when Christian Watson is back. He just practiced last week. His window is open. Jaden Reed had a 6 to 8 week timetable with his injury. But they've been injured back-to-back years. Christian Watson's always injured. So, yeah, people are scared like, oh, they're coming back. What's their shelf life when they come back really off major injury? So those are things to think about when we talk about Golden here. So 3 weeks in a row, 10-plus points in full-point PPR, 10, 11, 13. Snap share went from 71, 69 to 69%, had a monster game, and even got carries last week as well. So let's look at these numbers here, and then let's look at what's coming ahead and why you just have to go get this guy now, okay? So 19 targets, 14 receptions, 212 yards, 0 TDs. Hasn't found the end zone yet this year. That will come. Here's what you got to love. 8 rushing attempts for 45 yards. That's fantasy gold for a wide receiver getting into rounds. They're running him outside out of the Z-back position, which is great as well. 14 target share. That's number 67. You like to see that go up, but Green Bay spreads the ball around a ton. So you're not really going to get wide receiver production numbers with him. You're probably going to get 8 to 10 points with that big splash play that is going to hit here soon. So snap share 60.2% on the season, but remember he got worked in at the beginning. So last week he played 69%. That's low-end wide receiver 2 usage snap share-wise, which is good. Deep targets. He's gotten 4 deep targets, 25%. That's gonna go up and up and up. This guy is going to be the vertical threat. He is an absolute speedster. You saw his 40 time at the combine. Now, red zone targets 2. Not bad for, not the time he's been out there, so you got to like that a little bit. 39.7 points on the year. Wide receiver 57 has not returned his ADP yet, but I'm telling you, it's coming, okay? So you get Arizona next week at Arizona. Probably Jacoby Brissett playing. Their secondary very weak. You get Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh stopped the run last week off the bye. They're weak versus the pass. That is where Golden is going to eat again. You get Carolina, who's been smashing the run and getting toasted by the pass. You get the Giants, who are bad versus the pass. You get Detroit. You get Chicago. You get Chicago twice, and you get Minnesota twice. Minnesota's number 1 versus the wide receiver and quarterback, so that's a tough matchup for them. Sorry. Now, is he going to live up to the first-round draft pick being a Green Bay Packer? That is tough. So I'm not saying overspend on this buy because you still have Romeo Doubs. Dontavian Wicks got hurt last week. We've got to pay attention to that update. But then you got Watson coming back. So don't overspend on the buy, but definitely a buy that I want because I think he's going to have massive splash weeks coming ahead with 20-plus point opportunity in like 6 of the 8 games. Wide receiver number 3 that you should be buying low on, and yes, it is still a buy low, is Chris Olave. The man has not even cracked 20 points of fantasy football this season. But what did I tell you all year long if you've been watching the show or you've been part of the show since the beginning of the season was volume is going to be king with Chris Olave. The Saints are going to be playing from behind all year long. Now, Spencer Rattler has looked better. They are contending in games now, which is a little interesting in the past 2 weeks. He's finding a little groove, and he's finding a little groove with Chris Olave as his number 1 wide receiver. Now, this is freaking 6 weeks in, and he has 64 targets, number 2 in the NFL. He has 5 out of 6 games with 10-plus targets. Against the Buffalo Bills was his only game not getting 10-plus targets, where he got 6 targets. So 39 receptions, that's going to come up. Rattler is getting more efficient, like I said. 342 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. You expect that touchdown number to go up. Target share, guys, right here. This is numbers you want. This is elite wide receiver 1 usage, 32.3%, number 3 in the NFL. Snap share 84.5. That's wide receiver 1. Snap share usage, route participation, 95.3. That's elite wide receiver 1 usage. And then you got to look at the deep target rate for the team. Now, Rashid Shaheed gets a lot as well. This is how much the Kellen Moore offense is vertical, right? 4 deep targets for him, 28.6% of the team's targets that are deep. And then this is the great number to have. Now, they don't get to the red zone a lot, but like I said, Rattler is playing better. So red zone targets, he's number 6 in the NFL with 6. What? That's amazing numbers that you want. 78.2 points. He's wide receiver 20 on the season. Now, the owner that has him is probably hearing the trade rumors. And the trade rumors right now are probably going to be the New England Patriots, the 49ers. Imagine what Shanahan could do with this guy. Let's send Ayuk there or something, right? Get him out of here. Now, imagine the New England Patriots with Drake May, and he would take the wide receiver 1 role from Keyshawn Boutte, and he would just be absolutely electric. You have to go get Chris Olave. He's going to be a must-start flex option. Everyone in their concussion worries. I get that they were there. That's part of football. Injuries are part of football, right? This guy's had a lot of concussions dating back to Ohio State. But as long as he's healthy and out there, he is an elite talent on the field that has not produced at an elite level yet. He hasn't even had a 20-point game. It is coming. Go get Chris Olave now. Wide receiver number 4. And guys, I got to throw my apology right now. I said that Calvin Ridley was going to smash against the Raiders, and he came out on the first freaking drive of the game and got a 21-yard catch and extended his hamstring too long and got injured. And you know, I had him in my lineups as well, but if I swayed you guys to start him and he got injured, I got to take the L. Apologies on that one. Man, he was going to explode versus the Raiders. Now, why do I like to buy low? Well, the Titans are never going to be ahead, kind of like the Saints in the same situation, which is why I liked Calvin Ridley all year long. The connection with Cam Ward grew a ton in week 5 at Arizona, and then you got that game where he gets hurt, right? So we don't know about how long the hamstring injury is going to be. So this bye, you could possibly even wait a week. They do have a bye week 10 as well. He also is a heavy trade candidate for teams. And now that he's injured, that price maybe even goes down for them to buy him more. And he's also on the older side of age 30. So either way, whatever happens, he doesn't get traded, he does get traded. He's still going to be a volume guy that you have to like a ton. And that is what wins fantasy football. Volume is king. So when you look at these numbers here, 36 targets, 16 receptions, 290 yards, right? He was injured for the first couple weeks too, playing limited, wasn't playing 100%, and you could tell by his snap share at 86, 87%, right? So it dropped down. He was about to explode last week too. I'm so mad about it. But target share 19%, that would have gone up. He had 10 targets last game. 79.1% snap share, that would have gone up. He played every single snap till the injury. Route participation 80.3. You'd like to see that go up more and him be the full alpha out there. Deep targets and rate was 4 deep targets, 30% of the team's deep targets. That's what you want. But the red zone targets, man, they don't get to the red zone a lot at Tennessee. That's a problem. So he only had 1 red zone target. That's 83rd. And he's got 45 points, wide receiver 51, not returning his return on investment for ADP, which hurts. But let's say that this hamstring isn't as bad, which we don't know yet according to the injury. It says suffers a hamstring injury Sunday, first drive of the game, likely miss some time. So 1 or 2 weeks. Their bye is also week 10, like I said. So it could be, he's out for 3 weeks. They hold him till the bye. Or it could be he's traded. He's in a new destination with a better quarterback in a better situation, and he explodes even more. So his bye is not really that expensive right now for an elite wide receiver that you can get. Calvin Ridley is still good at football. It's just they fired the head coach. Everything is shambles in Tennessee. Cam Ward hasn't played good, but what do you expect him to do out there? Really, there's not a lot out there. People are always thinking Alec Ayamanor and Chimera DK and Gunnar Helm and all these guys are going to take over. There's not a lot of weapons for him. So I like the buy of Calvin Ridley. You could also wait a week maybe for Calvin Ridley with the injury and possibly get him cheaper as well. But this is going to be a guy that I'm targeting heavily in redraft because that owner is probably done with him. And this is still an elite talent that you can get. Number 5, and this one is going to be very tricky and very strategic and very smart. It is going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. of the Arizona Cardinals. Now, Jacoby Brissett comes in at quarterback and ignites the Arizona Cardinals offense because Kyler Murray was never the answer. I've been saying that. I don't know how many years I've been out on Kyler Murray and his passing attack and why it's killing Marvin Harrison and Trey McBride. And then you see Jacoby Brissett come in and go absolutely out of his mind and awaken Trey McBride, awaken Marvin Harrison. Then he catches the ball and has a monster head drop and he gets concussed and he's out for the week. So the person that paid the ADP of, high second, early third, depending on what, how your draft is. You have any biased Cardinals fans? I've seen them go higher in some drafts. But you have to look at, they get Green Bay next week, right? Week 7. Then their bye is week 8. So do you think they're going to throw out Marvin Harrison Jr. versus the hard-pounding Green Bay Packers when the Cardinals know their season is pretty much over? Probably not. Probably going to sit on him here. Probably going to sit on him until the bye week 8. And then he comes back week 9 versus Dallas, which is the worst defense in football. Kyler Murray or Jacoby Brissett at quarterback or not, you have to love the matchups coming ahead for him. Even Seattle's a tough one. Then you get 49ers, Jacksonville, Tampa Bay, Rams, Houston, Cincinnati, Atlanta Rams. So you have 1, 2, 3 tough matchups for the rest of the way for Marvin Harrison Jr. This is going to be a beautiful buy, and you got to convince your owner that he's, the concussion's here, then the bye. So they're going to be out of without 2 weeks, right? If you have a winning record, this is an absolute smash buy for sure, because you're going to be sitting with a guy 2 weeks on your bench and come back, and that's going to win fantasy football championships down the stretch. Now, look at the numbers in the season. 34 targets, 22 receptions, 338 yards, 2 touchdowns, 0 rush yards, target share 17.3. That's Kyler Murray's fault all the way. Snap share 88.2, number 12. And look at this. Route participation 99.4. That's alpha elite wide receiver 1 usage to have 17.3% target share with those numbers is absolutely bonkers. Kyler Murray was always the problem. And look at the deep target rate. 6 deep targets, 37.5% of the team. There's no other wide receiver going deep. He is the guy. Red zone targets should be up. 4 is way too low for his size. And 0.67.8 wide receiver 29. Go get Marvin Harrison Jr. right now and convince that owner that it's not playing against Green Bay and he has a bye coming and you could be in big trouble. And this is one of the best snatches you could get right now for cheap. Number 6 is going to be DJ Moore, who plays tonight of the Chicago Bears. Now, DJ Moore has been a massive, massive, massive trade rumor wide receiver, which is going to lead me into my next guy after this as well. So what you have to like, though, even if he's not traded, what you have to like is that you get the Washington Commanders tonight and say the Bears lose, then the trade rumors are going to come up even more, and it's going to be DJ Moore, DJ Moore, DJ Moore. Then you get the Saints, Baltimore, Cincy, New York Giants. That is 4 of the bottom 5 defenses versus the wide receiver in a row. Then you get Minnesota, that's tough. Then Pitt, Philly, Green Bay, Cleveland, Green Bay, Detroit, San Francisco. So pretty much the Niners have been good. Green Bay has not been that great. They've been average. Cleveland's been bad. Pitt's been bad. Philly's been bad versus the wide receiver. The Bears have a lights out schedule coming ahead. But there's, again, DJ Moore has been a major, major trade candidate, which would be huge for him to land in a different spot because with the Bears right now, with Rome Odunze being the one, he's the alpha, Luther Burden emerging, Cole Kmet, Colston Love, there's just so many mouths to feed. I'd rather him be in like a Patriot system where he could be the one with like, Keyshawn Boutte and take his job and have Diggs be the slot guy. Diggs only playing 50% of the snaps too. Or, you could send him to, I would throw out like a Falcons next to Drake London or, there's a couple teams. I'm not going to throw them all out, but you got to like the buy of DJ Moore regardless of where he lands because the schedule they have is gold. So he only has 21 targets, 16 receptions, 173 yards, 1 touchdown. He's got 6 rush attempts for 16 yards. Got to like that. DJ Moore loves those ends arounds. 16% target share, a lot lower than I thought this year. 84.1 snap share, that's low in wide receiver 1 usage. Deep targets, 2 at 10%. That's DJ Moore's got to go deep more. Red zone targets, 2. He's got to see more than that. And 38.8 points at wide receiver 58. So he definitely hasn't returned his ADP on investment. The owner that has DJ Moore, you can even try and buy it before tonight's game, which would be smart because I think he has a big game tonight, which then hurts his trade value. So you just have to look ahead at the schedule and you have to look at the situation of the trade, right? So DJ Moore can be acquired for very cheap right now with a great schedule coming and or trade possibility, which puts him in a better spot. This is why I like DJ Moore as a massive buy right now. Last but not least, wide receiver number 7. If I like DJ Moore as a trade candidate, which I really do, that is going to open it up for Luther Burden. Again, this is hypothetical. That trade hasn't happened, but he is the number 1 guy that people are talking about. So the fire is there. Now, Luther Burden of Chicago, his pro stats as of right now, obviously a lot lower because he hasn't even had a game where he's played 30% of the snaps. He's played 27, 18, 29, and 28. That's not good enough volume. But he's found the end zone and had a 100-plus yard game in that situation, which is bonkers because you have to look at it like this. So Luther Burden, if you guys remember Ollie Gordon, Oregon State running back, right? Got injured his senior year. His junior year, he comes out. He's probably a top 3, top 5, top 20 pick, depending on what team needs a running back, right? Easily top 10 talent. Luther Burden's junior year at Missouri, or sophomore year, sorry, he came out as a junior. He had 1,230 yards combined. This guy had 9 touchdowns. He was an absolute elite talent at wide receiver that his senior year he got hampered by injuries, just like Ollie Gordon, which dropped him into the second round of the draft for the Chicago Bears. Now, why the Bears took a wide receiver and a tight end with the new coaching system they have, obviously, with Cole Kmet and DJ Moore, aren't these like the signs you're looking at? This is what I'm looking at, right? I'm looking at Cole Kmet and DJ Moore being massive trade candidates because they spent the top capital for these guys to be out there. So when you look at his stats, these are all very limited, right? 8 targets, 7 receptions, 99 yards, 1 receiving TD, 1 rushing attempt. He's going to get a lot of carries once he gets involved in the offense. 7 yards. Target share 6.1, snap share 24%. Told you, very low. Still has 2 deep targets in that limited time and 3 red zone targets in that limited time. This man is a matchup nightmare. I promise you, put on any college tape from Missouri. He's one of my favorite wide receivers coming out and just landed in a bad spot. But I think that is all going to change here. But again, the trade deadline is November 4th, so you might have to wait. 23.6 points per game, wide receiver 92 on the season. Obviously, very, very limited. Now, if he's on your waiver wire, Jesus, go make sure you have this guy on your bench right now. I think tonight's going to be a coming out party even for him. But I do think they're going to showcase DJ Moore tonight if they want to trade him like I think they're going to. So I think DJ Moore is going to get a lot of action tonight. But Luther Burden, man, just make sure that your eyes are glued to how good this guy is at football. Watch him off the line. Watch his breaks. Watch his footwork. Watch his hand checks. Watch all of this. He is one of my favorite wide receivers. And if DJ Moore isn't traded, it's going to be a bad buy, right? But he's most likely on your waiver wire. So it's not really a buy. If it's Dynasty you're playing, it's definitely a buy. If you have a competitive league, smart redraft league, he's not on the waiver wire in many of my leagues, but one, right? So not an expensive buy, but a very damn good one. This guy is such a good football player, and I promise you, do it before tonight's game because, dude, if anybody else is watching, you don't get to see the Bears primetime a lot. So when you get to see it, you're going to notice how good Luther Burden is tonight. Thanks for rocking with me today, guys. That is the end of the episode. That is the end of the content today. I hope you guys enjoyed. That is my top 7 wide receivers to buy. If you want to check out my running backs to buy, my waiver wire videos, those are out right now as well, guys. Before we head out, make sure you tap that like and subscribe. All the support's appreciated. Turn that bell on. I'll be live tonight with Big Draft Energy. We'll be recapping week 6, where we were right, where we were wrong, plus looking into Monday Night Football and some pick'em tickets we like there. If you guys haven't checked out the Guys FF Discord or drafters.com and signed up using promo code SLEAZE, shout out to the sponsor. It will be pinned in the comments and in the description of the video as well, guys. And that's it for me. I hope to see you guys in the Monday Night Football show tonight, 6 p.m. Eastern. We'll be live for an hour before the kickoffs. And then we're hoping I need some big Monday Night Football comebacks, man. Season of Bill, Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt is going to be here tonight. I hope to see you guys in the show. I hope you guys enjoyed. Sleazebomb out. I'll catch you in the next one.